welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to get through Christmas sober. So this is my first sober Christmas, so this is going to be what I'm going to be doing. It's not tried and tested yet, but hopefully we can catch up in January and it's all worked out really well. If you're new here, welcome. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and comment, and let's just get straight into it. Okay, so there's quite a few stages of Christmas, and when I was drinking, December 1st was when I started ramping up my drinking more than what it already was. And it was very much any excuse to go to the pub, I was on it. You know, fuck it, it's Christmas was on my lips every single Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'm quite fortunate that I've kind of grown up a little bit as well. You know, like none of my friends are going out to the pub every weekend anymore. So I'm not missing it at all. But if you are in a position where you're feeling a bit like that, there's loads of fun activities you can do that are Christmas themed without them involving alcohol. So definitely kind of have a little look in your local area and see what else is available, because you've got a long month. Obviously we're already a couple of days in by the time this video goes live, and I don't want you to crack under the pressure, especially before Christmas or thereafter. So, you know, do some research, have a little look into what's available near you and see if people want to try something new. Okay, so the next event that you might be worrying about is work Christmas parties. So if you have been in your job, the same job, since before you got sober, you might be worried how people are going to react to you not drinking. Now, the best piece of advice I can give you is find a buddy, someone that you trust at work that you can confide in and say, look, I'm not going to be drinking tonight. Can you make sure I don't fall off the bandwagon? You don't have to tell them your whole story, but it's really important that you do have someone there that you can turn to, and make sure you've got sober friends that you can call and, you know, pop out from the party and just have a powwow with if you need to, if you start to panic. I would also suggest that phone ahead to the venue and see if they have alcohol-free options, because a lot of the time now venues do alcohol-free cocktails, so you can have a cocktail just like everyone else and no one will even question it. Also, don't be afraid to leave. I think there's this idea that we have to be there all night for the Christmas party. I can assure you that nothing good happens, I'm gonna say, after 10 o'clock on a Christmas party, because they normally start at like 6 o'clock. The people that are really drunk aren't going to remember you leaving. The people that are sober enough are probably going to be thankful that someone started the train of people going home. So don't be afraid to be the first one to leave. I've actually started a new job since being sober. So I've been really honest from day one that I don't drink. I haven't told them the ins and outs of my story. My boss knows, my colleague knows, because I think that's really important, that if, you know, I am struggling, they know the full story. But I have made it quite open that I don't drink. There's quite a few people at my work that don't drink, actually, not because they've drunk before. Some people don't drink for religious reasons, so I don't feel alone. I went out for a work Christmas meal on Wednesday, and a lot of them were driving, so a lot of them were having alcohol-free alternatives anyway. And yeah, I think again I am going to be speaking to the PA who manages the events, and I am going to ask, you know, are there alcohol-free alternatives, or can I pay a corkage? Because I don't really want to drink Red Bull all night. I did that when we went to N-Dubs and I ended up all night. One Red Bull is my limit, I've learnt. Please do as I say, not as I do on that one, my God. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be pre-planning. My Christmas do is next Friday, so I'm probably going to drop her an email on Monday, and if she's not sure, I will just ring the hotel where we're having it. There's no shame in asking for other alternatives. I think it's really important as well. The more us sober guys and girls speak up about wanting these alcohol-free alternatives, the more places are going to have them. You know, I went to Miller and Carter the other night and they had a full extensive list. Putt Shack, as you know, they've got a brilliant range of alcohol free, so it's definitely getting better, but that's because people are asking. You know, just because we're sober doesn't mean we don't want to have a nice drink. Just because we're sober doesn't mean we don't want to go to these places, but I just don't want to be surrounded by tons and tons of alcohol. I mean, at my belated Christmas party at my old company, we had a party back in June, Christmas in June, and there was a few of us that didn't drink, but actually there were people that weren't big drinkers that after dinner went on to the alcohol-free stuff. So we ordered a case of Prosecco, considering there was only 2 people, me and one other, that didn't drink alcohol. The case of Prosecco went because so many people were like, this is actually a really nice drink, I'm going to have this and then I can feel fresh in the morning. So it isn't always people that are teetotal. There's definitely people that only want to have 1 or 2 and then go on to something that's still a nice adult drink, but they've not got the alcohol in it. So definitely ring ahead, don't panic, and don't feel bad about leaving, because honestly, no one will probably notice. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, Boxing Day was always big drinking days for me. And I don't want to drink alcohol, but I am really looking forward to a mulled wine, a red wine. And I'm going to do some research and find some really nice alcohol-free options, because they are out there. I follow quite a few sober girls and guys on Instagram, and a lot of people have reviewed the Naughty range. I will link it all below, and apparently that's like the best that they've had so far. So it's a bit annoying that you can't just go into a shop and buy these things, that you have to order them online, but we'll get there. You know, the more sales these companies get, the more funding they can then put into like Waitrose, Sainsbury's. I mean, Tesco do have a range of alcohol-free wines. I've tried the white Sauvignon, but it wasn't great. It was fine with lemonade, but it was definitely like a summer wine. And I used to drink the Governor from Majestic Wine, which is a red, and that's the only wine I really liked, only red wine I really liked. So my standards are quite high. I mean, it wasn't expensive, but it was just quite, it was like specific to Majestic, if that's the right word. So yeah, I want to find an alcohol-free mulled wine, and I also want to find an alcohol-free red wine and a good alcohol-free Sauvignon, because I think it's really important that, you know, Christmas is a time when people, you know, get merry and stuff like that, and I don't want to drink alcohol, but I still want to feel relaxed. I still want to have a nice glass of something that isn't just Diet Coke, Coke Zero, Fanta, and that's okay. You know, for me, I don't have the alcohol-free alternatives and think, oh, I wish this was alcohol. Like, I've got no desire to drink alcohol at all, which I'm really fortunate for, because I know that some people it is a temptation. So that's something that you've got to kind of work through on your own. You know, if it does feel a little bit too similar and it's going to tempt you to just go and get the real stuff, then maybe avoid it. But for me personally, it's been a really good way to prolong my sobriety, because if I've fancied a glass of wine or I fancied a beer in the summer, I just went and had an alcohol-free one and it was fine. You know, it was nice at my boyfriend's birthday in the summer to have a Corona with a bit of lime in it and not get drunk and not have a hangover and not feel guilty. You know, I could still go to my meetings and still pick up my chips because I've not had alcohol. And I think that that's okay. I think that's absolutely fine if you want to get alternatives. You know, we don't like the effects of alcohol. It doesn't mean we don't like the taste of alcohol. So yeah, have a little look into it. I'm also going to link a new website called, I think it's called Sippers. Basically the lady that wrote the Sober Girls Handbook, the Sober Girls Guide. No, I think it is the Sober Girls Handbook, from the Sober Girls Society. She's teamed up with another sober friend and created an online shop, which is where you can shop all different brands of alcohol-free drinks. So Naughty's on there, there's a few other brands on there, some brands I haven't heard of. So I'm definitely going to go on there before Christmas, place a little order, and see, give things a go. You know, I really want to try a mulled wine, really want to try a red, and it's just so nice knowing that I can get a bottle of that and it will last like the whole of the Christmas season rather than an hour. I've literally had beers, alcohol-free beers in my fridge since summer, and they're just there. If I fancy a beer, I'll have a beer. But, you know, it's crazy to me, like, 9 months ago, there was never any alcohol in the house because it was drunk, not because of choice. It's crazy. In terms of Christmas gifting, a few people have asked me, like, will you still be gifting alcohol? And yes, I will, because I know certain people really like alcohol drinks. There are certain alcohol drinks that I think people will like, and you know, the red wine that I spoke about, I know a few people that would love that wine for Christmas. And just because I can't drink alcohol anymore, and just because I have a problem with alcohol, doesn't mean alcohol is bad. You know, yes, I do think it's questionable how much the media glamorizes alcohol. I do think it's questionable how encouraged it is to, you know, go out and get mortal at uni and stuff like that. But I have to remember that not everyone has the same drinking habits as me. And there are people that see that glamorous advert of a cocktail and that is their life. You know, for me, that, you know, I was glamorous for Instagram. I was never glamorous when I was actually out drinking. I was paralytic. And that's my story, you know, but not everyone downs bottles of wine. People do savour them. People do have a small glass that is the actual measure. They don't fill it up all the way to the top and then drink it for a straw. You know, some people are classy and I'm just not, and that's okay. So yeah, I think there is a few people that I will be gifting nice bottles of red wine to, because I know they like it, and why would I give them a present that they don't like? You know, I'm alcohol free by choice. People have drunk alcohol free drinks with me, but they would still prefer the real thing. That's okay, it doesn't offend me. You know, that's their life. I prefer to have an alcohol free option, know that I'm safe, know that I can get home safely, and everything else that comes with the beauty of being sober. Another thing that I am going to be doing a lot more of over Christmas is keeping in touch with other alcoholics. Now, this is something I do anyway, but I know that there is going to be a lot going on, and for me, when I am not in control of situations, I start to spiral. I've recently been shopping way more than I should. And I know for me that is a sign that I'm fixing. I'm very aware I can't drink. I'm very aware that I choose not to drink. However, I do find that I will find other ways to, you know, do things that aren't necessarily healthy. I spoke on my channel before about how I suffer with my eating. You know, I'm really struggling with that at the moment. I've recently gone gluten-free due to health reasons, and when I went out on Wednesday night, the drink that I had, the alcohol-free espresso martini, wasn't gluten-free, and I wasn't aware of that. So for the last 2 days I've been really unwell and not been able to eat anything because I just kept throwing up and whatnot. So, you know, for me, my eating habits and my spending habits are two things that, you know, they're my tendencies, that, you know, it's that excessiveness, that all or nothing. You know, I will go online and spend £300 in the space of 10 minutes and not even question it. And now I almost have a justification because I'm like, well, I would have spent that money in the pub. And it's like, yes, I would have. However, we could just save that money and not spend it. You know, I am the best person at justifying things. So just be mindful of that this holiday season as well. You know, if you're finding that you're starting to fix on other things, just be careful. You know, don't get yourself into debt over the holiday. Don't overcompensate because you're now sober and you're not going to be the fun time person. You are fun, you are great, you are enough exactly as you are, and you don't have to spend your money to show people that you love them. That doesn't have to happen. You know, gift people what you feel you want to give them, but don't put yourself into debt over it. You know, you're doing so well being sober, you don't have to spend all of your money every time you get paid. And that is a note for myself as well, because I'm going to watch this back and edit and be like, yeah, Eloise. So the last thing I want to finish up with is make sure that you are asking for help. If you are struggling in a situation, pick up the phone. If you are unsure if you can handle going to a certain event, don't go. You know, your sobriety is the most important thing. If this is like me and your first Christmas, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be scary. Don't put more pressure on yourself than you have to. Stay close to people that look after you. You know, if you've got a partner that looks after you and understands you, great. If you've got a best friend, a mum, a dad, a cousin, whoever can be your person, stick close to them over Christmas, because they're going to look after you as much as you look after them. And it's really important that, you know, you don't just white knuckle the next couple of weeks. You enjoy it, but you've got to remember that you've had a complete lifestyle change. So things aren't going to be as they were last Christmas. They're going to be better. They're going to be different, because you're going to be present. You know, you're going to be there to enjoy your dinner. You're going to actually be able to taste the food. It's not going to taste of Jaeger bombs and anything else that you may have consumed. It's going to be nice to see your family open their presents, and you know that you've put time and effort into thinking about that gift. I mean, maybe last Christmas you were too drunk to even give them presents. So yeah, it's a really exciting time, albeit scary, especially if it's your first sober Christmas like me. But my DMs are always open, so if you ever want to have a chat, just slide straight in. And I will see you soon for another video. And I hope that your December is going really well, and I love you so much.